Democratic Congressman Steny Hoyer of Maryland has confirmed he will not run for re-election. In an interview with the Washington Post, Hoyer, the former House Majority Leader, says he will retire after this term. Hoyer telling the Post he does not want to end up like other elderly legislators who stayed in Congress as their physical and mental capabilities diminished. The 86-year-old lawmaker is Maryland's longest-serving member of Congress and the third longest-serving member in House history. Hoyer expected to formally announce his retirement in a floor speech later this morning.
And joining us now, someone who's looking to start a career in Congress, George Conway. He's running as a Democrat in a crowded field to replace outgoing Congressman Jerry Nadler in New York's 12th congressional district. Also with us, senior writer at The Dispatch and a columnist at Bloomberg Opinion, David Drucker. Good to have you on board with us this morning.
So, George, first of all, you're running in a Democratic primary. You spent your life as a Republican, part of the vast right-wing conspiracy, as it was called. How are you finding Democratic voters and primaries welcoming to you?
I mean, I've been walking the street. I was here for 30 years practicing law, and I come back here a lot. And
right.
I walk down the street and people say, thank you for what you're saying. And I think people understand that we're just at a different time right now, where the things that used to, back when Democrats and Republicans were kind of normal, the differences between them now are nothing compared to the differences between what we have in the government now and what people want. And we are at such an incredible crossroads for the rule of law, for constitutional government, for our democracy, where we have a criminal president who is running this government like a mob operation, like a protection racket. You see it with the law firms. You see it with corporations. You see it, in so many different ways. He's using ACA subsidies as a cudgel. He did the other day against voters who he thinks don't support him. He's using the other day he cut off funding for 5 Democratic states for child care. This is all about nothing to do with his oath of office to protect the people and to support the Constitution and laws of the United States. And then we see it in this horrible murder in Minneapolis.
Well, let me ask you. Obviously, a lot of those things are rightly discussed a great deal on social media, and they're hot button issues for very good reasons. And we talk about it all the time. It's extraordinarily important to us around the table that we talk through all of these issues. That said, when you're knocking on doors, when you're talking people at subway stations, they may not be talking to you about constitutional niceties. They'll be saying, hold on, they're going to be saying, my groceries,
yes,
I can't afford them. My heating, too much. My rent just keeps going up. And my health care, forget about it. I can't take care of my grandmom. I can't take care of my kids. What am I going to do? Because I can't afford health care insurance. And even when I pay for health care insurance, the health care companies don't cover what the doctor says I need covered. So what are you going to do?
That's part of my point.
What are you going to do?
Because my point on that is that we can't have discussions about that. We can't have solutions to that until we have a government of people who actually care about these things.
So what are you going to do on those issues?
On those issues, we have to regulate the insurance companies. We have to make sure that Trump doesn't take away ACA subsidies. We have to do all sorts of things to help people, but that's not going to happen until we get rid of a government that is criminally using its power to advance.
Right, but I'm going to steer you back to these
I understand.
issues because this is what constituents, when I would knock on the door, I wanted to talk about how Bill Clinton mishandled Haiti. They wanted to talk about gas prices. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to you.
Right.
So let's talk more specifically about affordability.
Right.
It's something that the new mayor of New York City did. Give New York voters your best idea on how you're going to bring prices down for them.
Well, the first thing we can bring prices down is to get rid of these silly tariffs that are basically designed not to actually help anybody, not to actually bring industry to the United States, but basically so that Trump can have people come to him and say, "Oh, we need you. We want to do something for you. We are at your mercy." And all these tariffs, the ACA subsidies, we have to make sure they're put back, because that's the biggest possible. People shouldn't go bankrupt for their medical needs. It's a consensus now.
And what do you do for people not on Obamacare that are just on health care, regular health care, and their premiums keep skyrocketing, and they keep getting rejections from insurance companies that are making billions and billions and billions of dollars off of those rejections?
We have to regulate that. We have to take stronger steps to regulate that, because it is a problem and it undermines the entire system. It undermines the ACA, and we have to do things the ACA system has worked pretty well. It just needs to be carried on, extended and improved. It's the system that we have. We're not going to trash it. Most people don't want single payer health care. And yes, we actually have to do that. We have to do all sorts of things and conduct hearings and study the best practical way to do that, because there is a national consensus, right, left, red state, blue state, that's part of what the role of government is. It's the entire Western world believes that. That being said, where's the Republican plan? They've lied to us for years.
Really, we've been looking for that for 15 years.
Yeah, is it here? Where is it? Is it here?
They've been promising it for 15 years.
2 more weeks? Along with any infrastructure plan?
Yeah.
It's all a lie.
So, George, what do you say to my neighbors on the Upper West Side who really like you? They've watched you on MSNBC for the last 10 years. They like the way you fight. They like what you said. They say, but at the end of the day, I think he's a conservative Republican. That's how he lived his life, and we just elected a Democratic socialist. That's kind of the direction we're taking our city. How do you explain maybe some differences between you and the current mayor?
The differences between, I share his goals. I mean, he did an amazing job. Let's see part of the start of the stuff he said about Israel. Done an amazing job making affordability an issue and showing people that he cared about that. And that's been a perennial issue for as long as I've been around New York City, a perennial issue. Rent is too damn high. He was my favorite candidate ever. And we have to help him do that. There may be differences in the way we try to do that. On my view, maybe a little bit more free market than Zoran's, because I think one of the things you have to do first, how housing is, you have to make sure you can't just put rent regulation on things. You have to make sure there are ways you can incentivize the creation of supply. That's, economics 101. And so my approach might be different, but it's all about finding practical solutions to things. And it's all about having the discussions about what works and what doesn't work, and studying it and talking to experts. But again, to go back to, we can't really have this discussion at the federal level when you have an executive branch that doesn't give a shit about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, candidate for U.S. Congress, George Conway.
Thank you very much.
Take that,
Thank you.
Stick it in your head, Upper West Side, and
all right.
we'll continue this conversation.
Thank you for having me.